When we look back on Married with Children, we think of Al Bundy sitting on the couch with his hand in his pants, Peggy with her leopard prints and tower of red hair, no ma'am, and 4 touchdowns at Polk High. But what many people don't realize is that this was easily one of the most influential TV shows on pop culture. The butterfly effect is huge, and the crazy thing, it was this close. We're talking inches from never happening. Many of the shows that you love today, poof, gone. Today, we're going through the insane butterfly effect of Married with Children and the crazy event that basically saved pop culture as we know it. Let's rewind to 1986. Ronald Reagan is president, hair is big, shoulder pads are bigger, and on television, families are perfect. The Cosby Show is dominating Thursday nights. Family Ties has Michael J. Fox teaching us moral lessons. Every network sitcom is the same formula. Whether it's Growing Pains or Who's the Boss, it's all about loving parents, quirky kids, a problem that gets resolved, everyone learns something, hug it out, roll credits. And 2 guys in Hollywood were sick of it. Ron Levitt and Michael G. Moy were television writers who'd been grinding away in the industry, and they had an idea that was basically heresy. What if we made a show about a family that actually hated each other? What if marriage wasn't magical? What if the American dream was the American nightmare? They pitched it to every network. ABC passed, CBS passed, NBC laughed them out of the room. The working title was literally Not the Cosbys. Nobody wanted to touch something that cynical, that dark, that honest about how life actually felt for millions of struggling Americans. Enter Fox, a network that didn't even exist yet. Rupert Murdoch was launching the 4th major network, and he had nothing to lose. He needed content that was different, edgy, something to compete with the big 3. So when Levitt and Moy walked in with their pitch about a miserable shoe salesman who hates his life, his wife, and his kids, Fox said yes. They cast Ed O'Neill, a guy who'd been grinding in bit parts and theater, who tried out for NFL football and failed, who was basically an unknown, as Al Bundy. Katey Sagal as his sex-obsessed, housework-hating wife, Peggy. 2 kid actors, Christina Applegate and David Faustino, to round out the most dysfunctional family ever put on television. On April 5, 1987, Married with Children premiered as Fox's first primetime sitcom. The first episode showed Al coming home from his soul-crushing job, insulting his family, sticking his hand down his pants, and making it crystal clear. This was not The Cosby Show. The initial ratings were just okay. Not great, not terrible. The show was weird, abrasive, and honestly, people didn't quite know what to make of it. Critics were mixed. Some praised its honesty. Others called it vulgar trash. Fox was hemorrhaging money trying to establish itself as a real network, and by 1989, Season 3, the ratings for Married with Children were slipping. Executives started having meetings. Should we cancel it? Is this the right direction for Fox? Are we just burning money on a show about a guy who hates his wife? The show was on life support. And then something happened that should have killed it instantly, but instead it saved everything. January 15th, 1989. Season 3, Episode 6. Her Cups Runneth Over. The episode's plot? Al and his neighbor Steve go to a lingerie store to buy a bra for Peggy. There's ogling. There's innuendo. There's implied nudity shown from behind. It was raunchy, sure, but by today's standards, tame. By 1989 standards, it was basically the end of civilization. A Michigan housewife named Terry Rakolta was watching TV with her kids when they accidentally landed on this episode. And she was furious. Not just change the channel, furious. Terry Rakolta went nuclear. She launched a one-woman crusade, writing to every single sponsor that advertised during Married with Children. She called it soft pornography. She accused companies of supporting indecency. She went on national television, Nightline, morning shows, news programs, and declared war on trash TV. And it worked. Coca-Cola pulled their ads, Tam brands pulled out, other sponsors followed. Fox executives were in full panic mode. This was it. The show was dead. They'd have to cancel it to save the network's reputation. But then, brave executives stepped in and made a pop culture-altering move. Instead of canceling the show, they moved it from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. They briefly edited some content, but they kept it on the air. Ron Levitt and Michael G. Moy refused to back down. They could have apologized, could have promised to sanitize the show, could have turned the Bundys into the Huxtables. But they didn't. They stuck to their vision. And then something magical happened. The Streisand effect. All that media coverage, Terry Ricolta on every news show, articles in every newspaper about this controversial sitcom, made people curious. Viewers who'd never heard of Married with Children suddenly wanted to know what all the fuss was about. Ratings didn't just recover, they skyrocketed. By the end of season 3, the show was Fox's highest-rated series. Sponsors came crawling back. The cast literally sent Terry Ricolta flowers every season as a thank you for making them famous. She later admitted, in interviews, that her boycott had backfired spectacularly. She'd accidentally made the show a massive hit. But the network had learned a crucial lesson. Controversy could sell. Being edgy, being different, being the anti-network, that was Fox's identity now. And Married with Children was the proof of concept. The Ricolta boycott was just the first battle. The show faced constant attacks. Politicians like Senator Joe Lieberman cited it as evidence that television was corrupting America. Religious groups protested. Parent organizations demanded it be canceled. Every season brought new calls for the show to be pulled off the air, and every season Fox said no. Married with Children ran for 11 seasons, 259 episodes. It became Fox's longest-running live-action sitcom. It never won an Emmy, not one, but it didn't need awards. It had something more valuable. It had proven that television could be honest about the darkness of everyday life, and people would watch. Now, this is far from the end of the story, because the butterfly effect of Married with Children surviving all those attacks changed television forever. Let's start with the most direct impact. It literally saved Fox as a network. Ed O'Neill said it himself in a 2008 Los Angeles Times interview. Married with Children kept Fox in the black for 5 or 6 years. It was the only show getting high ratings. Think about that. Fox was losing money. The network was on the verge of collapse. But the show's success, especially after the Ricolta boost, gave Fox the financial runway to keep going, to invest in other shows, to build a brand identity as the edgy alternative to ABC, CBS, and NBC. And that brings us to the first domino, The Simpsons. The Simpsons started as shorts on The Tracy Ullman Show in 1987, the same year Married with Children premiered. But getting a full series order, that was risky. An animated primetime show about a dysfunctional family? Who would watch that? Fox would only take that risk because Married with Children had proven the market existed. Viewers wanted dysfunctional families. They were tired of the Huxtables. They wanted the Bundys. And if they'd watch a live-action dysfunctional family, maybe, just maybe, they'd watch an animated one. December 17, 1989, The Simpsons premieres as a full series. Fox pairs it with Married with Children on Sunday nights. The two shows cross-promote each other, and together they build Fox into a real network. Multiple sources confirm this. Slash Film wrote in 2022, "Without Married with Children, there would be no Simpsons." CBR stated in 2024, "The Simpsons came along just in time to help out Married with Children by lifting the entire programming block." But here's the thing. The Simpsons doesn't just survive, it becomes a cultural phenomenon. It has run for 35 years. It became the longest-running American sitcom in history. It won Emmys, spawned movies, and became a multi-billion-dollar franchise. And none of it happens if a mom doesn't go full Karen mode and accidentally save Married with Children. But we're not done, because The Simpsons would go on to inspire the next wave of animated dysfunctional family comedies. 1999, Family Guy premieres on Fox. Seth MacFarlane has openly talked about how The Simpsons paved the way. But trace it back one more step. The Simpsons exists because of Married with Children. King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers, American Dad, every animated Fox comedy about flawed, struggling families, they're all children of The Simpsons, which kind of means they're the grandchildren of Married with Children. And it's not just animation. The entire template of dysfunctional families equaling comedy gold became the default for sitcoms. Here are some examples. Malcolm in the Middle was designed as a spiritual successor to Married with Children and The Simpsons. Reviews called it the qualified transition between Married with Children and Modern Family. Every family member is selfish, awful, and nothing gets better. Pure Bundy DNA. Then you had Arrested Development in 2003. a rich family that hates each other and never learns anything. Sound familiar? And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but that was the hard relaunch of Jason Bateman. Without Married with Children, what would Ozark be like? Anyway, then we have It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day have repeatedly cited Married with Children as a core influence. Critic Kendall Rivers wrote in 2021, "Without Married with Children, there would be no It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The gang is literally the Bundys if they never had jobs or responsibilities." Then, of course, we have to talk about Modern Family. Some will say it's not based off Married with Children, and they'd be correct, but it's a show built around a dysfunctional family. And who better to be the patriarch of that family than Ed O'Neill? Because when you think family chaos, you think Al Bundy. It was an immediate connection for fans of Married with Children, and it's hard to imagine Modern Family with anyone other than Ed at the helm. And the results speak for themselves: 11 seasons, 22 Emmy wins, a cultural phenomenon. So yeah, Married with Children wasn't just a show, it was a revolution disguised as a sitcom. And it was this close to fading into the television abyss. So the next time you watch It's Always Sunny or Family Guy or any show where the characters are terrible people and nothing ever gets better, remember, you're watching the children of the Bundys, the grandchildren of a Michigan housewife's failed boycott, the legacy of a network that had nothing to lose and everything to gain. Not bad for a show about a guy who scored 4 touchdowns in a single game at Polk High. If you enjoyed this Retro TV deep dive, subscribe for more and leave your favorite Married with Children moment in the comments. Thanks for watching.